Hi, I'm Carl Verheyen, and welcome to this jazz rock edition of S.W.A.T Sessions. Jazz rock fuses the tone, feel, bends, hammer-ons, and other rock-centric embellishments and expressions with the sophistication of jazz harmony and improvisation. Playing over changes, the use of exotic scales and modes, crafting more complex and interesting lines and solos, these are the special weapons and tactics that I'll be demonstrating and breaking down for you over 14 performance studies. We'll examine different feels in a variety of tempos and keys, and each study will focus on a particular technique you'll need in your own jazz rock arsenal. For example, we'll kick off our first session with a couple of solos for a dominant chord funk vamp in G7. In the first performance, I'm going to limit myself to minor and major pentatonic scales and add the Mixolydian mode as we go. Then in the second one, I'll add a little more tension by using the diminished scale, a half step up from the root. Our second rhythm track is a C minor vamp in 6/8 time, and in my first solo, I'll demonstrate motivic development and phrasing that builds the entire solo to the end. In another solo, I'll show you how alternate pentatonic scales can be combined with the main pentatonic scale in the key for a more melodic effect. Then over a jazz blues in F, I'll first perform a solo that demonstrates the more complex side of the blues using changes a little bit more sophisticated than the typical 1-4-5. The second blues solo on this track will encompass a couple of blues heads that I've written and explain the value of writing a complete melody over a chord progression. Continuing the evolution of our chord progressions, we get a little bit deeper with a 32-bar form. In my first solo, I'll outline the changes using thirds and sevenths. Then, in the second solo, I'll add some different modes, including a boutique mode for a completely different sound. Using an old Charlie Parker-approved progression in A-flat, I'll focus on the value of playing thirds and sevenths on the downbeat of each bar to really outline the changes. Then in my second solo, I'll borrow a scale I learned from the gypsy jazz guys and show you the right notes to play over a dominant 7 sharp 5 chord. With a progression based on Chick Corea's Spain, I'll first review the Lydian mode and then the harmonic minor and diminished scales as they apply to dominant chords. And then, in my second solo, we'll look at flow, phrasing, and taking in the entire range of the fretboard. In our final session, we'll move to the key of F minor and slow things way down to demonstrate the bluesy side and soulful side of playing over a ballad. In the second solo, we'll analyze each scale needed to highlight what I call the key of the moment and deal with those pesky minor 7 flat 5 chords. For each of the performances, I'll break down a few of my key techniques and approaches, plus you'll get standard notation, tab, and the rhythm tracks to work with on your own. All right, get yourself tuned up and plugged in, put a little grit on your tone, and let's play some jazz rock.